Nothing like kicking off an early morning presentation about the Olympics that are coming to Los Angeles and all we have to do to prepare. So I'm Casey Shuda. I'm the Senior Director in the Office of Strategic Innovation at LA Metro. We're the department organizing the planning for LA 28, transportation, ground transportation, surface transportation. There had been talks about unmanned vehicles, but for Metro and the Games Mobility executives, we're going to stick to the ground. I worked at Metro for 13 years, mostly in the community relations field on our capital projects, so dealing with problem solving every day in the communities around Los Angeles. Projects such as 405 widening project in Carmageddon, the Purple Line subway extension. And so I figured, what's the next big thing I can get involved in to keep me busy for a few years? And luckily the Olympics came along. So I'm really excited about being involved in LA 28, and I'm really excited about being here today with my two counterparts, Tasha Higgins from Caltrans and Diana Cheng from Culver City. So Tasha, I'm going to hand it over to you for an introduction.
Good morning, everybody. I want to start my introduction by imagine a young junior high student who, in 1984, the torch came through her city, and she actually got to touch the torch and meet the runner. And then her mom's best friend was actually an Olympic taxi. They painted her car white, put stickers all over her car, and they helped the athletes get from city to city. Fast forward 40 years, I've been everywhere. Some of you in the room know me from, I worked at Metro for a while. I worked at the Port of Long Beach, managing their $2.3 billion program. And now I came back home to Caltrans, where I started my career. And to work on the LA 28 project is a project of a lifetime. It's like towards the end of my career, it's going to end with a blast. So I have a lot of challenges ahead of me, but I'm very excited about being here. So.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Diana, and it's my pleasure to be here to join you as the Chief Transportation Officer for the City of Culver City. So I have a background in both architecture and urban planning, and so I've been working on a lot of transportation planning projects. And so Culver City is both a destination city as well as a transit provider for the general west side subregion of the Los Angeles County. And we have been working toward a more accessible and sustainable future for our community that we serve through reimagining mobility. And so we're very excited here. And as a transit operator, we are here to support the region to address the needs in additional transit services for the games. Thank you.
So I'm going to go into a little overview of what planning transportation for an Olympics Games looks like in LA. Number one, there's not $1 of funding set aside for transportation, which is mind-blowing, yes? In Atlanta in 1996 and in Salt Lake City in 2002, the federal government stepped up and provided $1 billion almost in Salt Lake City's case for transportation. So when the LA 28 organizing committee was putting together the plans, they did not set aside $1 for transportation. We have not received any money from the federal government. They've told us to hustle after all the notice of funding opportunities that everyone in this room goes after as well. So we are hustling for every dollar we can to make this transportation a reality. We are continuing to work with the federal government. Maybe after the next election there would be an opportunity, but we hustle for every penny that we're going to get. Then when you think about LA 28, they hold a contract with the city of Los Angeles, with the mayor's office. In that contract, there are only 2 transportation projects that are highlighted. One is the Games Route Network. Those are the dedicated lanes for the Games family to get around the city. That is making sure Michael Phelps gets from the athletes' village to the pool. That's so the timekeeper, to keep Michael Phelps' time, gets from his hotel to the venue. That's so the prime minister of certain countries can get where they need to go in a short amount of time. That's a temporary infrastructure project that Caltrans will lead during the games only. The second transportation project listed in that contract is a supplemental bus system. Because there will be no parking at venues, there'll be no parking spaces available at Crypto.com, at SoFi, at the Intuit Dome, because those will be security perimeters. They would like every person who is a spectator or a workforce, someone working at the venue, to get to all the venues by public transportation. So if we look at Metro's current system, Metro runs 2,000 buses a day. The demand modeling we have so far for the Olympics would be 2,700 buses. just for the game's demand. So that's more than doubling Metro's transit system for a temporary 6-week project. That is not something that we want to invest a lot of money in if we're not getting any legacy benefits out of these projects. So all the projects that Metro, in coordination with the games mobility executives, that's sort of the transportation leads of transportation planning, Metro, Caltrans, the City of LA, LADOT, Metrolink, and SCAG. We are developing projects and plans for implementation by 2028. Every project outside of those 2 temporary contractual projects are going to be legacy. Those are projects that the city needs now. Those are projects that the city has already been looking at and developing so that they will provide benefits during the games and then leave legacy projects after the games. And so every project that you hear outside of the Games Route Network and the supplemental bus system, those are legacy projects on purpose. Those are the dollars we're really hustling after to make sure that we leave behind something and not just do a 4-week party for the world. I also want to mention that the coordination of the GME has taken a while to get up started. No one's telling us what to do. It's kind of like, look at the city and what do you think we should be implementing? What do we think is important at this time? Also, there's not a lot of information that comes out of LA28. To date, no venues have signed their contract with the organizing committee. So it's hard to know how many seats will be at each venue, how many time shifts there'll be at each venue. So we're working on our demand modeling on a lot of loose information. But we have to move ahead. The torch relay started from Greece to Paris yesterday. That means they're 100 days out from the Paris Olympics. So that means we're 100 days plus 4 years from the world descending on Los Angeles. We do not want to be leaving people on the sidewalks 3 blocks away from a venue. We want to show the world that LA is not just car-centric, that we can provide public transportation, but it is going to take an all hands on deck using every opportunity that comes our way to make it a reality and to make it a legacy that we can leave behind. And so with that, Tasha, I'd like to look to you to say, what projects, number one, is Caltrans leading? What are you most interested in? And how are you guys preparing for your own transportation inheritance?
Thank you, Casey. One thing I want to add before I answer those questions, one other challenge that she didn't get into is this is the first time the Paralympics will be here as well. So the challenge of transporting and getting various athletes that are challenged in unimaginable ways, let alone transportation getting to and from their destination. So that's it's not insurmountable, and we're going to do it, but it's a very huge effort, and we need as much innovation and ideas and contracting ideas and new things that you guys can bring to the table. So projects. Caltrans, Casey mentions the GRN. So after the 1996 Olympics, some athletes actually did miss their competitions. So the IOC, which is the International Olympic Committee, came up with this idea called the Olympic Route Network. And it was a way in which we can guarantee that they will not miss the Olympics. It wasn't fully executed in a contract until London 2012. So in London 2012, they actually had dedicated lanes, no other cars except Olympic cars were able to go. Now, 80% of the Games Route Network is on the state highway system. So what myself and my soon-to-be team, I don't have a team yet, but my soon-to-be team will be doing is working with the Federal Highways Administration and dedicating some of our hot lanes, which are high occupancy toll lanes, as well as our HOV, which is the high occupancy vehicle lanes, for Games Route only. And in some cases where we don't have a hot lane or a HOV lane, we're investigating how we can actually make that happen. We will, and that's for what Casey said, is to get the athletes to and from their destination on time and a predictable time. Now, we're not expecting them to be able to go from UCLA to Chino in 30 minutes. Does anyone think that's possible? Okay, no. But we're going to do as best we can. We're going to model, and we're going to make sure that we can have a predictable, guaranteed time that they can get there. One of the other projects, which is a legacy project we're working on, was with the City of Los Angeles. It's called the ATSEC LA Regional TMC Integration Project. So imagine that you're on the highway you get to the local street, and the signals are not timed for you to get to where you need to go. Part of that project will actually synchronize our signals so that it's called first mile, last mile. The highways are called the middle mile. So you want to be able to have a seamless transition. If we need to actually, in a similar way that the fire department, if they have need, they can synchronize the lights in order to have the fire department go through. It'll be a very similar project to that. So not only are we working with the city of Los Angeles very closely to implement that project, but as well, coming soon, we will actually have regional participation with other jurisdictions, and as well as the transit agencies in Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino County. So that's coming. My favorite part, or my most important piece that I'm hoping to gain from this is our director, Tony Tavares of Caltrans, has set a goal of 0 fatalities by 2050. That is our goal. I am hopeful that we can implement some level of innovative technology, safety enhancements, legacy improvements that will help our transportation reach that goal. 2028 is a few years out from 2050, but this project could be something that helps us get there. So, thank you.
Thank you, Tasha. Diana, looking to Culver City. Culver City does not itself have a venue, but it will be near the Games Route Network, and it will be in the middle of the city as the Olympics and Paralympics are going on. How is Culver City preparing for the melee that will happen around them and through them?
Okay, I hope you don't mind that I stand up for it. I didn't realize there's not a prompt here, so I kind of need to look at my screen. I have a little visual here. Okay, so just a quick intro on Culver City. We're a very small city, but as you can see here, we're located in the center of the west side region of the Los Angeles County. But even though we're about 5 square miles, about 40,000 in population, we actually have transit service that goes way beyond Culver City and serving that west side region. So we have 7 bus lines and 1 rapid transit line that serve about the 33 square mile of an area that cover within that area has about 530,000 people. And so we're also our service connect to 5 rail stations. All right, so the way we see, and I think all of us are saying the same thing, you know, Olympic is both a challenge as well as opportunity. We're really seeing this, there are gonna be a lot of athletes, workers, and visitors moving around the Los Angeles region, which will place strain on our existing transportation network. But at the same time, it's a very exciting opportunity for the region to plan for service and infrastructure improvements that will really create a lasting change to people's travel behavior, as well as making the region permanently more transit-friendly, bike-friendly, and walk-friendly. And so, I jumped. All right, so Culver City is located really at the intersection of the key routes between the Olympic venues and LAX. And so you see the map on the right, the north-south travel from the Olympic Village in San Fernando Valley to LAX and southern venues must pass through Culver City, and it's either via 405 freeway or Sepulveda Boulevard. And so there's really opportunity to leverage Culver City's Line 6 as well as Rapid 6, which runs on Sepulveda Boulevard, to provide that direct transit connection between the Olympic Village at the UCLA and LAX, as well as the Inglewood venue. And so really, the way that we see it, again, this is an opportunity for us to get and create a world-class public transportation system that will then be able to be left behind and beyond the game and be available beyond the game. All right, so a lot of what we do and what we have recognized in Culver City is that we see that in order for us to shift the people's travel behavior, you really will have to look at a multi-pronged approach, and it needs to be comprehensive and holistic. And so what we have been working on is looking at policy changes, infrastructure transformations, as well as services to see how we can combine all of these approaches, implement them really rapidly out there so that we can start seeing people's travel behavior change. And so at the end result really is giving people seamless and convenient mobility options for them to move around. And so some of the things that we're finally getting your question, Casey. So some of the things that we're planning and preparing includes a comprehensive mobility services plan, which really will identify and evaluate the existing transportation services, and it's not just public transit fixed route, it's all the services that we can improve on, as well as identify new services that we can implement and create that roadmap for us with a 4-year horizon leading up to the game, as well as a 20-year horizon going beyond the game. And so we also, even though the game is a few years away, I think that all of us will agree here that we're actually pretty anxious. We feel like we're really losing time. As time goes on, a lot of decisions are being made right now. For example, the bus fleet that we have. We have 50 buses that are due for replacement in the next 4 years. And so we're really aggressively looking at how we can bring funding and looking at how we can replace those buses. But on top of that, a question that we grapple with is how many of these older bus fleets should we retain for the game? Because we do anticipate there's going to be a lot of need, 2,700 buses needed for the supplemental bus system. And then what are some of these additional services we will need to provide, right? And so we're looking at how many we need to retain. And if that's the case, what are our ways that we can extend the useful life of those buses so they're available for the game, as well as places where we can store these buses so they can be available when the game comes. And we have also at the same time been working on street infrastructure improvements to really make our streets safe and reliable for public transit and active transportation. So again, you know, going back to everything that we're working on is everything comes down to funding, right? And so both of you have talked about bringing funding to the region, and that's something that we're also looking at. You know, it's like you said, it's a game that doesn't come with any money. And so Culver City has also been very aggressively trying to bring in grant funds for all of these capital investment. But it's also important for the region to actually work together and bring operational funding. And so all of these are important as we bring the capital, we have the facility, we have the buses, and we have the people that we need to support the game, and also having some of these, the personnel who will support the game to stay beyond that and to continue to support the enhanced service level beyond the game. That's it.
Thank you, Diana. So that brings up a good point. For the supplemental bus system, we need 2,700 buses. Where are we going to get those? We're hoping to do a borrowed bus program with transit agencies around the country. So we did a survey about a year ago, and we had 800 to 900 buses that people were willing to say they could donate during 2028, but that still leaves quite a gap. So when we think about the services that we'll need and the contracting opportunities that are out there, I know Metro are considering a program management support services contract to help us design, construct, and implement these projects that will come up that need to be implemented really by December of 2027. So January of 28 is when Homeland Security comes in and starts taking over. So we need our infrastructure up and ready to be running by December of 27. So that even shortens our timeline. Tasha, Diana, do you have any contracting opportunities or ways that that we can get assistance?
Yeah, so same with us. Our goal is to finish everything by December 2027. Our intelligent transportation system, video camera analytics systems, our CCTV cameras, we're doing contracts for that in the next couple years, as well as our GRN. You can imagine the amount of striping and sign fabrication that we're going to need in the next couple of years. But the plan is to get it, do a type of design build contract in the next year or so. So look forward to that.
For For Culver City Bus, what we are focusing on is obviously the supplemental bus system. And so there we really see a lot of opportunities. Some I've mentioned earlier. But one that really stand out for us is that if we are keeping our fleet for the game, and those fleet will need to be extending their useful life, there's really an opportunity for the region to have a regional contract for this kind of services so that we can it's less taxing for smaller agencies, and that we will be able to work together to extend the useful life of these buses for the games.
Yeah, a fun story from out of Salt Lake City in 2002. They had a borrowed bus program there, and there were certain cities that sent their old diesel buses, and at the end of the games, they said, you can keep those. We don't need them back. So we're trying not to have that happen in LA. So we'll do as much advanced planning as we can to save the buses that are coming out of our own system. So as we get ready to wrap up, Tasha, I'd like to look to you to talk to final thoughts about the Olympics, your planning experience, and what you're most looking forward to over the next few years.
Wow. Safety. If we could all tell someone else, be safe, drive slower, I want to have an Olympics with no fatalities, no emergencies, especially related to transportation, but as a whole, that we have a safe Olympics. I'm really to tie the bow with what I shared with you earlier. This is a lifetime. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity, and I don't know if any of you were here in 1932. Hands up for 1984. A few of us. So to experience this in 2028 is going to be once in a lifetime, and I'm pretty sure we won't get it again. I can't guarantee, but this is a really exciting thing, so I'm looking forward to just being a part of it.
Well, for us, it really focus again back on collaboration opportunities, and all of us have mentioned here that the region really need to work together. You know, transit agencies, jurisdictions, Caltrans, and working together to get funding in, number one, and as well as to work together to implement and really accelerate some of these changes that we've been working on over the years, and that create a great, and I keep on saying world-class, but transportation system for this whole region so that we can provide that access to opportunities and foster that economic growth, as well as maintain and support thriving communities throughout the region.
And I know Metro and the Games Mobility executives are looking at regional convening. So having an opportunity to share with venue cities, transit agencies around LA County and really outside the region of how we're going to put on these games together, because it will take all hands. And I recently read, or maybe I saw it on TikTok, that with opportunity comes responsibility. So there is great responsibility here for us to showcase the transportation initiatives that we could put forward in LA. But I never want people to forget that this is a fun opportunity. This is the only Olympics that you'll probably be holding this position for, with an ability to change how the city looks, how the city operates, how we operate together. So let's remember that this is fun. We're in some dire meetings where it's very serious. I'm like, guys, it's the Olympics. Let's go for the gold. So we hope that you all get that sense of excitement and can help pitch in and get LA ready for the Olympics and the Paralympics in 2028. So thank you.